Thank you for your patience. I'd like to call the board meeting of the Village Beach Park to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Gus.
Here.
Trustee Hucker.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Otterson.
Here.
Trustee Siddick.
Here.
Trustee Wells.
Here.
Clerk Swingos and Attorney Mack.
We are all here. We have a quorum. Would you all please stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, tonight our consent agenda consists of the approval of the minutes from the board meeting of August 9th, bills presented for payment as of August 20, monthly financial report, and the engineer's report. Is there anything that the board would like to have discussed separately? Nothing. Is there anything that the public would like to have discussed separately? There being nothing, I would accept a motion to...
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gus.
Aye.
Trustee Hucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Otterson.
Aye.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
The motion carries. Next, we have trustee reports. I have no report for Building and Zoning and TIF Committee tonight. Public Works, Trustee Otterson.
Why, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also have no report, but there are multiple things listed under the engineer's report that I may have a chance to chime in on, so I will defer my
movement
time.
afoot to co-opt your report?
Yeah, to eliminate me, apparently. So I will defer my time to the engineer.
I see. Okay,
Thank you.
Public Relations and Economic Development, Trustee Miller.
No report tonight, Your Honor.
All right. Intergovernmental Affairs, Trustee Wells.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Parks and Rec, I know you got a report.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to say that our August Fest was awesome. Perfect weather. We ended up having 179 cars registered. A lot of other cars come in that didn't register. They just come in to visit, stay for a while, and then they left. But food was great, plenty of people. And then we also got photographs of it. A plane flew over, took photographs of our function that day, so that was awesome. The next thing we got, and then next year we should do better yet because Beach Park Road will be finished and be open.
Yep.
I don't think that really hurt us that bad, but because we were on the radio Saturday morning, told people, whoever was listening, to come off of Sheridan Road. The next one we got coming up is September 18th, the senior picnic at Founders Park from 12 to 3. And that ends my report.
Very good. Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Siddick.
Thank you. I do have one thing I'd like to mention, just for public information. Coming up on August 27th at the Zion New Tech campus, the Pierce campus on Bethesda Avenue, the Zion community is getting together to have another meeting about the Zion nuclear plant, and we'll be getting an update. That meeting does start at 6 p.m., and as soon as we complete that meeting, hopefully we'll have another update following our next board meeting as to what's taking place over at the Zion nuclear plant.
Excellent.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
It occurs to me that we have coming up a vaccination clinic from
I think it's October 20th.
20th. Okay. We'll just keep bouncing that around as it gets closer.
That would be a pet vaccination clinic. I think we need to...
We have to limit it to pets, do we?
We do.
Yeah, I believe the
Pets.
veterinarians that will be on site are limited to the pets, yes.
That's our dogs and cats only. Correct.
Yeah, even more limited than that, apparently.
So we can't bring our hamsters or...
Our snakes.
Okay.
And what's really nice about this program is it's a low-cost pet vaccination clinic to help people in the village to help get their animals up to date on their vaccinations, and for rabies and distemper. So it'll be, I think it's going to be held at the Public Works Building on the 20th of October.
Very cool. Thank you. Next, we have the Village Treasurer's Report.
We just have one item tonight, and it's to consider an ordinance approving the budget amendment for 2011-2012.
I would like to first start off by saying again to, specifically to Peggy, your summary of this budget amendment has been very helpful. The narrative is crystal clear as to what we're doing, and the reports that back it up are understandable, and I'd like to thank you for that. All right, so we have before us a budget amendment in all its detail. It is in ordinance form, so we need a motion to approve the ordinance approving the budget amendment for the 2011-12 budget year.
It's ordinance 22.
So moved.
Second.
Motion in a couple of seconds. Any discussion? It's your last chance. All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Hucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller. Aye. Trustee Addison.
Aye.
Trustee Siddiq.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. The village engineer, the aforementioned village engineer that is stealing all of Mark's thunder. Marcia, what have you got for us tonight?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mark.
Anytime.
There actually are several items on the agenda tonight. The first one is considering bids for the 2012 MFT street resurfacing project. There was a recommendation letter in your packet. Bids were received August 2nd. It identifies in the letter the streets that are being resurfaced, as well as patching locations. There were 3 bids received. The apparent low bidder is Payne and Dolan, with the bid amount of $176,874.10. And we're recommending that the village board approve and award the contract to Payne and Dolan in the amount of $176,874.10.
I will make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a question. This is work that will yet be done in 2012, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thanks.
I noticed a comment about the budgeted amount versus the bid amount and the potential for reducing. Is there a need from a budget perspective, as Public Works weighed in on that, as far as whether that $6,000 is an issue?
There is money in the MFT account to cover that $6,000.
There is, plus, the thing I was going to mention next is that if, also in the board packets or in their mailboxes, was a memo about North Avenue, and that's being delayed now till next spring. So we can, and we were planning to use some money from our grant for that, as well as some money from MFT for that. So now we have actually a little bit more leeway to move around projects.
Okay, thank you. So it'll be the full amount. And we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being done, roll call, please.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Addison.
Aye.
Trustee Siddiq.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Gass.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. And then next is the final pay request for Mancini for the York House Road Sanitary Sewer Extension Project. Also in the board's packet, we're recommending payment in the amount of $34,820 as the final payment for the York House Road Sanitary Sewer.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Addison.
Aye.
Trustee Siddiq.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Gass.
Aye.
Trustee Hucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Thank you. The next is the ComEd agreement, easement agreement for installation of the inline booster pumping station on the ComEd site on Sheridan Road. This was also included in your packets, along with a summary from myself, and then I think separately there were review comments from Rudy Magna. We have also since followed up on a couple of the questions that Rudy raised. One was the insurance, and the village's insurance requirements do meet those, and then our construction contract also required those same limits from the contractor. So we're good there. So we're recommending that the the other thing I wanted to bring up was the dollar amount for the easement. The amount that's being requested is $3,870. And basically, I put a summary in my memo, but that value is, they calculate that very similar to how the village calculates for similar types of things. It's based on the size and the assessed value of the property. And we had actually, when we were working on this year's budget with Peggy, we actually had budgeted $5,000 for this. So it's a very reasonable amount, and it's within our budget. So we are recommending that the village approve this agreement. And I don't know if you have any questions for Rudy or not, but...
Right, any, well, first and foremost, do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement for purchase of the, what is it, considered a right-of-way, or
Easement.
an easement agreement with ComEd for the booster pump station.
I will second it. We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Question?
Yes.
Marcia, could you talk a little bit for the public about the grant that's assisting the village with this?
Yes,
Actually, we're going to dive into that next, aren't we, with the booster station project itself?
either one, it doesn't...
Because this is just, what's on the table right now is just the ComEd agreement.
Right.
I don't want to confuse,
Okay.
but save that one, because
All right.
we're coming to it. All right, anything further, discussion-wise?
No.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Trustee Wallace.
Aye.
Trustee Dunn.
Aye.
Trustee Rucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
And Trustee Addison.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is the award of bids for the construction of the booster station installation. And yes, as you, to answer Regina's question, the village did receive from the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity a grant in the amount of $145,000 towards this project, and then the village had budgeted to make up the remainder. We did this in order to meet our timelines, and since we were waiting to get the finalized easement from ComEd, we did this in two parts. We did the pre-purchase of the booster station itself so they could start the production of that. We awarded that a few months ago, and that one actually came in under budget also. The bids we awarded it to Dakota Pump. They're well underway and assembling the module, and that was, I'm trying to remember, $167,000-ish, but considerably under our estimate. And then this is for the installation of that station. We did have the bids opened yesterday, and I have to admit that this is the first time I've had to handle this specific issue. Talked to Rudy right away. But we had 5 bidders, and they were all very good bids, but the low bid was actually a tie. We had 2 bidders that submitted the exact same dollar amount. So at your table tonight was a evaluation letter. Like I said, we talked to Rudy, and what we did was we went through and we did an evaluation of the 2 firms. The 2 low bids were submitted by Keno and Sons Construction and Sheridan Plumbing. And we have summarized in the letter, the low bid was $129,000 even. Our engineer's estimate was $194,000. So again, considerably under our estimate, which is good news.
That extra money for the paving right there.
And they're both good companies. We've worked with both of them, and both, I'm sure, are capable of completing the project. But we did go through and we did an evaluation based on the information that they submitted and references and our experience with them previously. And basically, we're recommending that you award to Keno and Sons primarily because this is to do the mechanical type work, the booster station installation. That's really their forte, is to do that kind of work, whereas Sheridan's bread and butter is more of the underground pipeline work. So based on that primarily, but we did do a ranking system, which is included in here, and there were scores attached. So we're recommending, based on that evaluation, that the village award it to Keno and Sons in the amount of $129,000. Our specifications do state that the owner reserves the right to reject any or all proposals or any portion thereof, or to accept any proposal or portion thereof, and to waive any informality or technicality in any proposal in the interest of the owner. Based on that, the suggested decision matrix can be utilized to select the most qualified bidder. If you would like, though, you do have the option to use a coin flip or some other random selection method if you would prefer to do that. So I guess I leave it up to the board and Rudy, and I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Did you have anything?
A very quick comment. Marcia did an excellent job putting this scoring system in when she called with this, and I have to say, I cannot remember if ever something like this happening. That's why they should put the nickels and dimes at the end of their bids. But with the scoring and ranking system, you are well within the statutory requirements of selecting from either of the two low bidders. The ranking system lays out nicely the specialties, their relative weight. Keno is a Lake County company. Keno provided resumes in much greater detail of the people who will be working on the project and their skill levels and experience. So you have everything before you that gives you every bit of the authority to choose Keno over Sheridan. I mean, if that's your wish. Either one would be fine, but Keno does have the edge based on the scoring that Marcia had performed.
And my opinion on this is just the fact that the bids were opened yesterday, so in a 24-hour period, you're able to come up with this scoring matrix. I think that's way more scientific than a coin flip or arm wrestling or whatever else. So I'm comfortable with going with Keno based on the qualifications. I think both companies are fine, and it's not a huge thing to dig a hole and put this pumping module in and connect the pipes on both ends, but I think based on the scoring matrix that you came up with, and I'm comfortable with going with them.
Would that be in the form of a motion?
I would make a motion that we would award the contract to Keno and Sons in the amount of $129,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just want to express appreciation to you, too. This is fabulous. This really makes it easy for us. You've done the homework, and all we have to do is look at the results, so appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'm thinking future bids are going to come in with the 99 cents.
You know, it's interesting, I just have to say, Keno said that they've had this happen 3 times, so I would think that they would start doing that.
Well, the last time it was 130,000, so they thought they'd, okay.
Yeah, they rounded up last time, and this time they rounded down, and it still got them.
All right, we have a motion and a second. A roll call, please.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Dunn.
Aye.
Trustee Hucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Addison.
Aye.
And Trustee Stewart.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
And the last 2 things I wanted to bring up, one is just a discussion regarding the watershed development ordinance. If you recall, I actually represented the village on the committee with the Lake County Municipal League as the Lake County Stormwater Management Commission was working for almost 2 years to adopt the ordinance amendments. And as a result of that work through the committee, several of the ordinance amendments were revised, and the county board approved those amendments in July, and the village has 90 days to adopt those. So we are required to adopt them by October 8th, I believe it is. And what I'm planning to do is to come back to you in the September meeting to formally adopt it, and I'll also provide a summary to you of basically the comments that the Lake County Municipal League had. But I do have copies here for anybody that's interested. I have a copy of the ordinance amendments themselves and the ordinance, for you to adopt by reference, basically. So if you're interested, I have copies for you, but it's it's a lot of reading material, so I didn't know if you're interested, but it's
I
up to
had
you.
the pleasure of seeing it, and most of it seemed to be in some other language. I didn't, yeah. But, yeah, I think you certainly, maybe when we're done, we can just distribute those out, and everybody can look if they want to.
I've been to every one of those meetings except one. So
So you speak that language, then?
No.
Oh.
But I think the summary of the municipal league's comments based on the summary, I know you guys all did a great job. I didn't go to the meetings because Richard was kind enough to go to them. But I know that several of the changes that were made based on the Lake County Municipal League's recommendations were definitely in our favor, and not just us, all communities. This is nothing picking on Beach Park about this, it's the whole county. So we're better off because that process took place. So basically, we just need to adopt the changes, but the changes are much kinder and gentler as a result of the municipal league working really hard to make them kinder and gentler in a lot of cases.
So I'll be back, I'll hand those out, and then I'll be back at the September meeting, we'll talk about it again.
Marcia, those are the minimum standards that are required by the Stormwater Management Commission of the communities. Since I wasn't here the last time there was revisions to it, are there any local standards that are more stringent, which are permitted, that Beach Park has that need to be addressed in this amendment?
No, there's not.
Okay.
There wasn't the very first version of the watershed development ordinance, but since then, we just adopt by reference.
That makes it simple.
That's
Right.
And then the last thing, just a quick update on the Beach Road project. It's underway. Obviously it's a construction project. There's been some, it's inconvenience to the neighborhood, but it's on schedule. It's going well. They've torn out all on the Phase 1, which is west of North Avenue. They have torn out all the old road. They've installed most of the storm sewer, are dealing with some utility conflicts, but that's to be expected in construction, and they'll be starting to do the paving work in the next couple of weeks. So,
What's the date, the milestone date, where they're going to be switching from the first half to this, moving east of North Avenue? What's the...
I made myself a note because it's right around the date of the senior picnic, so we need to coordinate that. So it's mid to late September. So
Are they on schedule for meeting that time frame, though?
I think so.
Good.
The weather's been very cooperative so far, so far we're good, but I'll keep you posted.
And I had the privilege to speak with your site engineer, lead
Lisa?
site engineer, Lisa, yes. And she's got a lot of moving targets there, all the residents, of course, that are affected, but also the people that are driving around signs, school buses, and that's not going to get any better. So I appreciate the work they're doing out there on site. It really is a challenge, especially the residents of Tuas Court and Creek Court. There's no choice. You have to drive through it to get to those. And but I witnessed several that were going through, and there was a lot of conversation, a lot of explanation. So I appreciate what they're doing there. So.
Thanks. And that ends my report, unless there's any other questions.
Question. Marcia, you talked a while back about the postponement of the Wadsworth Road and North Avenue intersection project. Can you tell us a little bit more about what all transpired there? Because that must have just happened, right?
Yeah, that happened. Well, the original intent was to have it advertised here and then bid early September, but instead of advertising, basically we were notified from IDOT that it wasn't approved at this point in time. So basically, because of their schedule, it would be at least mid-September before it was approved, which moves it all back with all their advertising and bidding, and then you have to wait 10 days to award. And so it's just getting too late in the season to be sure that we can get it done this year with weather. So the best thing to do is postpone that and do it in the spring.
Well, will you have to completely reapply, or will it automatically be kept in the queue somehow?
It'll be kept in the queue.
Okay, good.
And the grant money is still there.
And the grant money is still there, yes. The grant money, that's the one that was, in fact, that's part of the reason that the thing was delayed was because IDOT originally told us to wait until till all the funding was figured out before we submitted. And this is the one it's a Lake County CDBG grant, and those are usually issued in May of each year, but this one, we got it at the July board meeting. If you remember, we passed the agreement for Lake County. So that was part of the delay process, but since it was, those grants are good for a minimum of 18 months, so we have until December of 13 to finish the project.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Marcia.
Thank you.
Village Coordinator.
I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Village Attorney.
No report, Mayor.
All right. Village Clerk, our favorite topic.
We've already received phone calls from residents, they want to know trick-or-treat hours this year. So we try to go along with the other communities, and we gave you a memo, like to have it Sunday, October 28th, from 2 to 5.
Sounds good to me.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
There's a motion. There's a second. Any discussion about trick-or-treating hours?
My favorite time.
Can we mandate in this, the ordinance, that Richard has to have his face painted again like he did on Saturday at the Beach Park Fest?
What is it with this?
It was
Got pictures if anyone's interested.
No, nobody wants to see. Yeah,
Right here in my phone.
It was a fun day.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I have one item under the mayor's report. I should say mayor/liquor commissioner's report. We had a series of hearings 2 weeks ago, last Friday, if I'm doing the math, or the 10th. Thank you. So that would have been 2 weeks ago this Friday. Wherein we had 6 license holders in for hearings about sales to underage persons, selling of alcohol to underage people. The Sheriff's Department had done 2 different stings 2 months apart in which the total of the 6 offenders were caught. And based on history, previous violations, and the discussion and evidence at the hearings, I meted out penalties ranging from $500 through $2,500, and suspensions from, up to, some were not suspended, and suspensions up to 14 days. Just a little editorializing here. This license for our business people is a privilege. It's something that's earned and something that is kept through proper performance. There is no entitlement to anyone to sell alcohol in Beach Park, and I personally take that very seriously. We can't have our children buying beer, wine, or anything else in our local stores. It's not what we're here for, and that's not why we issue liquor licenses. So my sincere hope is that this message has been received by all that sell liquor in Beach Park, and that this will not be treated lightly down the line. I hope that this is the last time that I get to hear a hearing about sales to minors. So that being said, there is, first, was there any comment from any of the trustees that I didn't want to shut you down on that?
Well said.
Thank you. Definitely.
Right, and I couldn't agree more with your statements, and I also have a zero tolerance for that.
There's no room for it. And kudos to the Sheriff's Department.
Absolutely.
They did the job. They did it right, made our hearings go well, and our appreciation, and once again, our agreement with our contract with the Sheriff's Department is working very well. So, yes, it is. Great. Thank you. We have no reason for an executive session tonight. Now would be the time for any citizens that would wish to address the board to rise, come to the podium, state your name, your address, and your case.
A hush falls over the crowd.
Okay, thank you. We have one item under other business, which we have titled a emergency resolution necessary for the Waukegan Regional Air Show to take place on September 7th and 8th, 2012, and the closure of Green Bay Road between York House and Wadsworth, at the intersection of York House and Green Bay Road between York House and Wadsworth Road between Green Bay and Lewis. That would be a temporary closure from on the 7th from 1 to 2:30, that's Friday, and on the 8th, Saturday, from noon to 3:30, to accommodate jet performers demonstration route for the Waukegan Air Show. In order for them to be able to perform, the highways need to be closed, basically. So the resolution is here, you have copies of it, and we need a motion
So moved.
The resolution 11.
and a second. Any discussion?
The air show is just the one day, so the 7th is a rehearsal, correct?
Correct.
I'm assuming they called yesterday for this resolution.
Okay.
7th and 8th.
So that's just,
Right.
so the actual show is only Saturday, but the
Yes.
rehearsal is Friday for the...
Exactly. That's how it was last year as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gus.
Aye.
Trustee Hucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Otterston.
Aye.
Trustee Sidik.
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Because you're going to be flying one of the jets, right?
Tyler.
That's cool.
Well, I have flat run out of things to talk about. This is the time when I would look for a motion to adjourn this August body. We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gus. Trustee Hucker.
Aye.
Miller. Trustee Otterston. Trustee Sidik. Trustee Wells.
Aye. Did you say my name yet?
We are adjourned.